Hello, love bugs. Welcome back
Ah.
to today's episode. Today we've got the one and only beautiful Fallon Lev with us. She is a self-proclaimed style icon and a life and style coach. Fallon has been teaching yoga and leading retreats for over a decade, and she hosts monthly women's gatherings in San Diego. So if you are out that way, definitely check her out. Her heart's work is to remind women who the fuck they are and help them feel seen, sexy, and celebrated. Fallon, I am over the moon excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hello, gorgeous. That was beautiful. Thank you for reflecting back to me what I already know to be true, but it's so powerful to have another woman say it to me. So thank you.
Absolutely. I love to get to be that person for you. So I've thought about this, and there's so many different places that we can begin. But I really want to just share off the bat that I had my first encounter, virtual encounter and experience with Fallon a couple months ago. She did a free consultation with me, and this was a launch pad into my vision in so many ways that I had no idea that I needed. I have been looking to get more involved locally, start booking more workshops and speaking events, and just getting out in more face-to-face interaction because it's just so important. You guys know I am all about connection, and so I wanted to bring that into my world more. And a huge part of me was conflicted because I wanted to express myself, but for some reason I felt so resistant to giving myself full permission to express myself through my wardrobe, through my look. It almost felt there's like these guilty feelings that arise to spend money on that or to deem that really important and to, show up really shining. I was resistant to shining. And on the flip side of this consultation that I had with her, I was so empowered. I've stepped so deeply into creative expression through what I'm wearing and showing up. And the confidence that has come with that
Hmm.
has been transformative, like truly a launch pad. So, Fallon, I just wanted to kick off with saying thank you for lifting me up in that way that has served me in ways that even go further beyond what I just explained.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I don't know that I recognized or realized that that was such a huge catalyst for you because when I see you, you exude confidence. And I felt like that was already a huge part of who you are. And I think really our consultation just gave you that permission slip and your empowered decision to choose yourself and to decide that you get to shine, you get to show up and take pride in your appearance and have fun in your self expression. I mean, you are Carrie, the fun coach. So, like, that is just such a huge part of who you are and the work that you do in the world. So, it just makes sense that your wardrobe is going to also communicate that. It's a part of your brand, it's a part of your messaging. And it's like, your wardrobe has the ability to speak volumes to who you are without you even having to say a word. So the fact that you're using your wardrobe in networking events is so powerful, and people are going to feel you. They are going to see you and witness you and remember you. Our wardrobe is one of the greatest gifts that we have, and it's a non-verbal way to communicate to the world who we know ourselves to be without having to say a single word. It is so freaking potent.
Yes, 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 yes. I've been having similar conversations to that with my husband and just, being so excited about the fact that we get to introduce ourselves without saying a word. That's really what it is.
Mm.
And I get so many compliments because I'm always brightly colored now and I'm always, again, shining as bright as I can instead of trying to dim my light to fit in. And people remember me. And that's not
Mhm.
like, I'm really not trying to like sound like I have a big head or anything in saying that, but I can feel like I make an imprint on people that I meet instead of just like being another face in the crowd because I'm so branded personally and it goes right with my whole mission in my career. And so the self-expression is just it's all that. And I want to dig into this in so many different ways. And I guess let's just start with I want to know more about you and your journey and your experience with self-expression through wardrobe and style.
Okay. So I think my story is not where you would think it's going to go. So when I started to really own my style. Like there was a part in my life, I've always had this natural style. My mother is like my biggest style icon. Like if you know my mom, you're like, oh yeah, she get it from her mama. But when I really started to own this part of me was actually when I use it more so for healing. So I was in a pretty bad accident in 2020 and I spent 3 months in a hospital. I literally had to learn how to walk again and I just had completely lost myself. I had lost my relationship to my body. I just felt so disconnected from who I was. And my biggest fear going through that experience wasn't necessarily like, would I walk again? But my biggest fear was that I was going to lose my light and that I was going to forget who I was and wasn't going to come back strong enough. And throughout my healing experience, like I literally had to learn to walk. And then I started to dance. And then I started to dress up and take videos of myself in my mirror. And then I just started to post these videos. And it was very vulnerable, very uncomfortable, but it was such a beautiful experience for me to kind of just literally be witnessed and coming back online and the remembrance of who I was and just stepping into my power. So I used clothing as a way to just bring me back into my soul's remembrance. And I really think clothing is so powerful. We can talk about how powerful it is, you know, building a brand, using your message, speaking to the world who you are, but it's also just it's a declaration of self-love. It's you choosing yourself and choosing to be seen and allowing yourself to be celebrated. So clothing is something that, yeah, I really use as a big part of my healing journey. And then I was like, this is so empowering. I want to help other women find themselves. I want to help other women feel empowered by their wardrobe. And it just kind of naturally evolved from there. It was like, I just kept stumbling forward. I kept taking messy action. I was literally just selling my clothes off of Instagram. And then people started like coming to me with the desire to also like kind of like one of those I want what she's having. And it just evolved naturally from there. So I've been working with women, just empowering women to use their wardrobe, self expression, and just really to take up space, to be bold in their self expression and to really own who they are. So that's been the journey. It's probably not what you thought we might go with that, but there she is.
It's perfect. It's so
Yes.
perfect. And what I heard is it that your clothes really helped you, sounds like, come back home to yourself
Mm.
and then share that with the world. And then, of course, that was so magnetic and brought you to where you're at today, where you're serving so many women and inspiring so many women with everything that you share and getting to make a career out of the thing that is so soulful and
Mhm.
purposeful for you. And that makes perfect sense, right? Because you're in alignment doing what you love and it's all just unfolded from there. Um, Something that's coming up with a lot of the women that I work with, and I share before we hit record, that it comes up a lot. The talk about it's time to revamp my wardrobe. It's time to redecorate my house because at some point when you go through so much internal transformation, your external has to start reflecting it. Like that's just the natural evolution. That's the manifestation of it all, right?
Mhm.
And there's so much, the word guilt keeps coming up. Like the guilt around the spending of the money on the clothes and but even deeper than that, the guilt around really caring about what you look like because there's this narrative. Oh, there's so many narratives that are thrust upon women, right? But this narrative that like what you look like is not important and what matters is on the inside. And yes, we all understand that, but it's really kind of put a lot of women in a box to where they're not allowed to prioritize or really care about what they look like when it is important. That self-expression is everything for a lot of different reasons. So from your perspective, this being your area of expertise, how do you help women kind of just release that and treat themselves and prioritize it, if you will?
I love that. It is an act of self love and self care. And I think that, yes, there are so many narratives that have been imposed onto us, and they're simply not true. Like, we can choose them, or we can choose a new narrative to step into. And if you are a woman who is building a business, if you are a woman who has a brand and a mission and a message, like, you want to be seen, and your clothing is one of the easiest ways to really amplify your visibility. And you have to be willing to just let those stories go, those past versions of self that maybe at one point they were true for you. And maybe at one point they did serve you and it protected you and it kept you small. And so much of standing out is being able to create a sense of safety in yourself. And that's also what really speaks to your ability to turn up the volume on your confidence and your willingness to just showcase to the world who you know yourself to be. So it's probably something that is a lot in the mind. And there's some simple, just mindset shifts that we can make and create and step into in order to really drown out that noise and to just release those stories. And so often those stories aren't even true. They're not even ours. They're something that maybe your mom told you, or your principal told you, or a sister or a girlfriend, but like, they're not true, and they don't have to be a part of your story, and they don't have to be a part of the way you brand yourself and the way you see yourself. I look at other women who are choosing themselves every single day, and it's literally just a celebration. And we get to be each other's permission slip. The more that you show up emboldened by your self expression, wearing color, wearing your gorgeous new haircut, like, the more other women are going to feel empowered to do the same. And it's almost like we have to, as a collective, rewrite this narrative and choose each other and choose ourselves and choose to be seen and choose that we're enough and we deserve to feel seen. We deserve to be celebrated. So it just comes down to like a lot of mindset chatter, a lot of noise, and just expectation that someone else has placed on us. And we just get to let that shit go.
Yes. It somehow always comes back to letting go, right?
Mhm.
One way or another, like with everything in life. That was so beautifully said. And you actually took it right in the direction that was coming up for me as you were talking was for me personally, a lot of my resistance to expressing myself fully and pouring into my visual appearance has been not wanting to like outshine other women, because I know with women it can be a little bit competitive sometimes, and we know that we're playing in the space of like insecurity, because again, that's just again another narrative around women is that, you know, the standard for what we need to look like is so high. And I love to go all out. Like, I like to do the jewelry, the makeup, the hair, the whole fit, the nails, like I just love to do it. But I never want to like make anyone feel any kind of way, which is already like it feels weird coming out, even sharing that. But I've had conversations about this, and I love the way that you point out that we're like kind of in a way illuminating one another and giving each other permission slips. So can you elaborate even more on like when you see a woman walk into the room who is like dressed to the nines, she is shining so bright. What is your perception?
My perception is I want to get in the room with her. I want to know more about her. Like, I am drawn to her. Her magnetism is turned on. I don't feel less than her. I don't feel above her. I just see her. And in my eyes, she is choosing to be seen. And it's like, I think it's just a beautiful invitation. Like, we are all just lighthouses for each other. And the shiner, the brighter you shine, the brighter we all get to shine. So, like, yes, illuminating the path for each other and becoming each other's permission slips. I think it's really common to shrink or get small and compare yourself to another woman. But in reality, we get to define what feels alive in our self expression. Like, we get to choose the standards. We don't all have to choose a blazer. We don't all have to choose pops of red. Like, you get to define what makes you feel so unbelievably, unapologetically gorgeous and lit up from the inside out. And that's your radiance. That's when your self expression is just like skyrocketing. So I think the more you can kind of like remove the standard that your self expression needs to look or feel a certain way, and just understand that you get to define what that looks like for you. And that way you're able to really elevate your radiance and feel comfortable and confident without needing to compare yourself to another woman.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. It really eliminates the comparison
Yeah.
altogether. And it really positions you if you are someone who like will sometimes maybe feel like small, if there's someone who's really, really expressing themselves brightly, the more you express yourself, like the more you will take up space and the bigger that you feel. And it just really does evaporate that comparison. And what was coming to mind as you were sharing that when I talk about connection, because in 2024, especially since COVID, in-person connection and friendships have become harder. Finding your people, like more people seem to struggle with finding their soulmate friends. And an analogy that I like to use is, you can be it can be 10 o'clock at night on a summer's night in your backyard. And if your soulmates are the moths that are all fluttering around in the space, if you are a lantern and your light is not turned on, not shining, you can't attract your people.
Mhm.
Only when you are shining and letting yourself be seen can your people see you and come to you. And so I'm curious to know if that has been the case for you and like what you've seen as far as like the impact of really shining and expressing yourself.
I love that analogy. That's so beautiful. I love this, just like the summer's night way to paint a picture. I felt that. Um, yeah, I mean, you want to talk about like conversation starters? You want to talk about opening yourself up to receive more, like allowing yourself to be seen in your self expression. Like, there is no better way to just like drop into the embodiment of who you are and then invite people into your world. Like, color, texture. There's so much connection. There's so much opportunity. Like, your style is a window into your soul. So it's inviting women into your world, like, and just showing them who you are, who you know yourself to be. I think it's so beautiful. And then allowing yourself to receive compliments, like really practicing. This is something I think many women struggle with. Like, can you really let yourself be celebrated by another woman? And that is going to completely dissolve any comparison by just receiving her compliment. I give out so many compliments. It is one of my favorite things to do. And it doesn't have to be like this like elaborate compliment, but just like those little moments that you're able to create with another woman, that is how you build confidence. That is how you build community. And that is how you build just the connection to another human being. Like, it doesn't even have to be woman to woman, but letting yourself receive compliments and then giving compliments. Let them be a gift. Let them become a part of your brand. Like, become known for how you make people feel. And that's how people are going to remember you. And your style is just going to be that like little extra cherry on top. Like, people are going to flock towards you. Like, I know you can feel it. Like, I know you have had this shift in your energy, in your way of being. Like, just the more you can own who you are, the more people are gonna, it's your magnetism. It is like literally the fastest and the easiest way to elevate and amplify your magnetism. So
You
yeah.
are like, I feel like you have a little halo around above your head right now. You're like such an angel gift to the world. I absolutely love all of that, especially what did you say? Your style is a window to your soul. That's a mic drop. I wanna put that on a mug and drink coffee out of it every morning as a reminder.
Cheers. I love that too. That was good.
So good. It's so true. So, ladies, yes, permission granted. Anytime you need
Mhm.
a reminder that it is important. And actually, now what's coming up is let's spin it. And how to, like, for women who feel like that's not their forte, they're like, I don't know how to dress to express myself. And I don't even know, I don't really like to get uncomfortable and like dress up and wear clothes that aren't comfy and all the things. What kind of guidance or feedback do you have for women who are in that boat?
And a lot of people are in that boat, and that's fair. And I also just want to acknowledge and recognize that it's not going to be something that is important for everyone, and that's okay. And that I think is a huge factor that plays into like not enoughness because you aren't, you know, choosing to embody your style doesn't mean you can't be a powerful leader. Doesn't mean you can't be a limitless leader. You get to, define what your standards are. But for someone who is interested in learning their style, it's honestly, it comes down to getting to know yourself, like peeling back the layers, really finding out what you are attracted to, what you do like and what you don't like. So, one of the first things I do with every single one of my clients is we make a Pinterest board. And I know we all make Pinterest boards, right? It's so fun. It's very like, it's a great practice for manifestation. But the thing is, you have to be willing to look at your Pinterest board. You have to be willing to study it, to get to know it. Like there is a way to train your eye and find your style. There is a way for you to learn and unlearn, like choosing to enjoy what you like, not based off of what society has told you is acceptable or appropriate, but choosing to enjoy what you do like because it turns you on. It gets you excited. Like you want a wardrobe that you are obsessed with. You want a wardrobe that you are excited to get dressed every single day and like begs you to leave the house. I know so many people are just wearing what feels safe and what feels comfortable. And appropriate is one of the biggest things that we have to really, really move through. Like, what is appropriate at a certain age? What is appropriate to wear to the office? Like, yes, you get to choose what you feel is appropriate. And I think it's a very personal decision. And your style is a way to really, you know, communicate your personal identity. And I think that if we just like continue to wear the same old shit, we're going to look like everyone else and we're not going to know who we are. So it comes back to just knowing who you are, getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And that's the magic.
I could not agree more. Absolutely. And that is kind of like preliminary work, if you will, if you really feel unsure of what expressing
Mhm.
yourself would really look like. And there are so many resources for that. People like Fallon and I are those resources.
Mhm.
This is what we help you do. We help you really, really get to just the gooey, warm center of who you were put here to be. And then we bring that, like I said earlier, your internal transformation, or really just kind of like, I guess as we're evolving, it's less of adding parts of ourselves or deciding who we want to be, but more of like just the shedding and the removal of what we are not, so that we can, the core of who we are can shine, and then it can make its way all the way out through us, through our wardrobe, through like everything that is our vessel, our body, our
Mhm.
appearance, and also our circumstances, our homes, our spaces, all of that included. It can trickle all the way out, and that's the magic. And it's such a beautiful journey. So of course we are here to support you through that. And this is a beautiful segue into talking about like some tangible things and tips that you like to share with people. You mentioned the Pinterest board.
Mhm.
Um, if someone's like, okay, where do I start? Or what's like something simple that I can do to start expressing myself a little bit more? What do you recommend?
Well, I just want to say too, based off of what you said, like I love all of that. It is about shedding and, creating more space. And that's why one of my like most popular packages is my closet edit because most often when you stand in front of your closet and you don't know what you want to wear, it's because your closet is full of past versions of yourself. And there's nothing in your closet that is speaking to the woman that you're becoming. And there's so many of us who have grown so much over the past few years, except our closet is still reflecting our 2020 self. So get in your closet, get rid of the pieces that are no longer lighting you up. They're just creating clutter, they're just creating noise. You have to be willing to create space for the new version of yourself, for the next version of yourself. So I think that the closet edit is one of the most transformational things that you can do, or just get into your closet and start playing dress up. let yourself be celebrated in the mirror, take selfies of yourself, find out what you're wearing when you feel your most confident, and then remember that. Like, I always tell my clients to create like an album on their photo of like their favorite outfits, so that when you have a networking event or it's date night, you have the opportunity to just really effortlessly find an outfit that's going to light you up. And it doesn't require time and it doesn't require too much effort. You get to make it really easy on yourself. And I also think that you don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a new wardrobe. There are different ways to start learning what's already in your closet, learning how to use them, and to create a variety of different looks. And it's usually pretty simple, like adding in pops of color, adding in accessories. Accessories are going to be your best friend, they are key. So, just allowing yourself the time and the space to explore and experience yourself and be willing to play like your whole vibe. Like, you are just like the walking embodiment of like everything I do. Be willing to play, try things on, get to know yourself, be curious, have a willingness. It's meant to be fun, you know, it's good old fashioned girls just want to have fun.
Yes. And that is enough. That is
Yes.
sufficient. Just the desire to play, to have fun, to express yourself, to open up that window to your soul through your self expression, like that's sufficient. You don't need more justification than that to go shopping or to do the closet edit or to get rid of some old pieces or just dress up for a day, to stay home or to go get coffee or something. That is so much more than enough. And I love that you say, you don't need to go spend thousands of dollars, because that's the most common block that I see with some of the
Mm-hmm.
women that I work with when this topic comes up. Like, well, I don't have money right now. And that's a block for all of us in so many different ways, right? It's such like an easy thing to latch onto. And the new question that's been coming up that I've been asking, okay, how can you make it work with what you have? And one of my clients decided to, I think it was like a week ago, she got bangs, which was awesome. Like, she did a huge haircut and gave herself bangs, which was so awesome. And she released a lot of stuff from her closet and she went to Plato's closet. She was like, wait a
Mm-hmm.
second, I like, if I want to be a little bit more reserved with what I'm spending right now, it doesn't mean I can't buy anything. It just has to look a little bit different. And you do a lot of thrifting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thrifting and then clothing swaps. Like, if you want to bring in community, if you are trying to get in the room with other women, like clothing swaps are so fun. Host a clothing swap with your closest girlfriends. You're going to score so many beautiful gems. And there's something that is just like seeing your friends walk away with pieces of clothing that were in your closet that don't light you up, but they're excited about. Like, it is such a gift. And it's such a really beautiful way to also, I mean, it's good for the planet, it's good for your wallet, and it's also just a beautiful way to connect. I think that's like one of my favorite things that I offer right now is just like a free clothing swap. And then thrifting, yes, like allow yourself to go to your favorite thrift store. And it's like you can also sell your clothing there, but like don't be afraid to like, yeah, I think that in the coaching industry, especially, it can be really hard to kind of get caught up in like luxury. And like, I have absolutely like zero awareness of like name brands. And that is just not something that I choose to focus on. I am much more excited to tell you about like what I thrifted last week or what I scored at TJ Maxx. There is definitely opportunity to revamp your style and your wardrobe on a budget. And it doesn't have to be shameful. Like, it gets to be celebrated. You get to choose where you spend your money. What matters more than anything is that you're making the investment in yourself. Doesn't matter how much money you're spending. It matters how the clothing makes you feel.
I love that. I love that. And that opens the door to kind of just take the money out of the picture. And it's not taking money out of the picture in the sense of throw caution to the wind and just go put as much as you want on your credit card because you're worth it. It's
Mhm.
not that side of it. It's like money doesn't have to be a block. We don't have to focus on that. Like, this is important enough to figure out a way. And there are clearly so many ways between the thrifting, the clothing swap idea has me lit up. Absolutely love that. I've like seen them marketed like in Charlotte here and there. Never gone to one, but I'm gonna be definitely keeping that in mind. And then I also had a conversation the other day with somebody who is subscribed to Newly,
Mm-hmm.
which
Newly's
is,
great.
yeah, can you explain that real quick?
Yeah, I actually, this is such a good point. So Newly is you can rent. I think I'm getting this right. I might be confused, but there's different ways where you can rent clothing, or Newly might be one of the programs that they send you clothing based off of like a form that you fill out, like based off of your lifestyle, what you're trying to dress. Um, but there's so many different ways to bring in clothing to your wardrobe. And Newly is great. Selling your clothes on Poshmark is great. Renting clothes is so intelligent. So most people are spending money on the clothing that they're wearing once a year, right? And then they're wearing like Lululemon pants that they've had for 10 years every single day. So, where that narrative needs to be flipped completely is you want to be spending your money intelligently on the clothing that you're wearing every single day. That's what matters. And then renting is so incredible to do for like when you have to go to a wedding, or when you need to, if you're going to a networking event and you want a fabulous outfit, like renting clothing is actually a really fun way to get to know your style, because that way you get to try things on. It's not yours to keep. It's at a friendlier price point. So yeah, I definitely encourage people to rent, to trade, to share, borrow from your girlfriends. And the clothing swaps, I think, are just such a beautiful way to connect. It's such a great way to create community. The other thing, before I forget, one of the things that just an easy way for you to find out if style makes a difference in your life, the next time you're going to get coffee or the next time you're going to Trader Joe's, put on an outfit that just makes you feel electric, that just turns you on and has you feeling a certain type of way. And I promise you, it is going to shift your energy. It is going to change the way you interact with the world. It is going to change the way people interact with you. And not saying we need to look a certain way, but it's the energy. It's the energy that you're bringing to the room. It's the energy that you're bringing to the table. People can feel it and they respond to it. So just give yourself a gift, a little playful thing that you get to do, whether you're going to coffee, Trader Joe's, just try it on and then let me know how it goes for you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I can attest to that in this season of prioritizing networking events and just more social outings, if you will. Like I joined a Toastmasters club. I've been trying all these different events, like doing a lot of coffee meetups. And when I started this, it was such an internal conflict how I was going to dress to go to Toastmasters where we're in a church basement, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know these people, and it's not like an event to dress up for. But in my mind, it was just so conflictual because I was trying to water myself down, dim my light to not like stand out in the room. Because not everyone expresses themselves through style, and that's totally okay. And in
Mm-hmm.
this room, that was generally the case. And so I felt like I would really be standing out like a sore thumb if I was to be myself and express myself and shine. And what I found through like multiple times of doing both, like flip-flopping between, oh, I'm gonna wear a hoodie, and then, oh, I'm gonna wear my colors and an outfit that I really love, is that when I wasn't expressing myself in the way that I genuinely actually wanted to, regardless of what the event was, what the um yeah, you know what I mean by that. Um, when I was wearing the hoodie, it was I was not talking to people like myself. I was not talking in front of people like myself. I felt like I was just retracted and like in a shell. That was my energy and that was how I was connecting and communicating or not connecting, really. And then when I was shining, I was just like wide open, heart open, curious, connected, confident. And I realized, okay, if I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna continue to put myself out there and build my brand like this, I have to shine in order to be myself. I have to express myself physically in order to feel like myself and to really also just spread my message and my mission, which is all about living a more childlike life and having fun and playing. That's the purpose. And that can't be done unless I'm expressing myself through my wardrobe. Crazy.
Girl, you just nailed it. Like all of that. That was priceless. It is about being yourself. And we all know how amazing it feels when you just know that that's enough. Like you get to walk in the room wearing whatever you want to wear because that's what makes you feel the most alive. That's what makes you feel most confident. It all comes down to dressing for yourself. It doesn't matter what anyone else is wearing in the room. It doesn't matter where you're going. And it's so common for women to shrink and to want to blend in. Like especially like it's actually like it makes me so sad how many women are just trying to blend in. And especially if you have a message, especially if you have a mission, you have to be willing to stand out. And that just comes to just being really proud about who you are and loving yourself. And I think that loving yourself is something too that like is hard for some people to be like proud about. Like we are just like constantly told to stay small and love yourself, but don't love yourself too loud, and be yourself, but don't be too bold. So it's there's always going to be this constant battle, and it just comes back to choosing yourself every single time.
Mm. That was so well said. So well said, especially the part of, love yourself, but not too much, and be yourself, but not too boldly. And to piggyback on that, I've personally removed the too much narrative as a
Mm-hmm.
whole because it only keeps me small. And if I'm going to live the life that I'm called to live and pursue like the purpose and the mission that I'm here for, I have to be too much. I have to be outside the box. We need that is who we're called to be in our own unique ways, and that's different for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? So thank you for highlighting that. I feel like I could go on, but I would love to hear. I know a lot of people are probably curious at this point because I know I was for a long time. Okay, Fallon is a life and style coach, and you seem to do a lot of stuff virtually in addition to in-person events. So if people want to work with you, what are the different ways that they can do that?
So I do it all. I really do. I wear like 1,000 hats. And one of my, I think, the most potent transformation is just going to be the closet edit. And it's a 2 week experience. It's one virtual call and then 2 weeks of text and style support. And there is just so much that we unpack together. And it is absolutely just like mind blowing how much of our closet edit is actually in the mind. So it all just goes hand in hand, heart and heart. So I do closet edits. I teach a lot of yoga. I host women's circles every month. And then I have monthly coaching packages, one on one coaching packages. Right now, I am dipping my toes in the branding experience. I have been building a personal brand for over 10 years, and I have absolutely just like really allowed myself to stand out in a community of San Diego yoga teachers, which is not easy to do. There are so many of us. But yeah, so I'm really excited to share more of what has really gone into who I had to become in order to stand out in this type of industry, and then how that has evolved since pivoting and taking my business online. My main mission in this lifetime is just to help empower women to love themselves, to feel emboldened in their self expression, and to really take up space. I love to celebrate women. I love to help you feel seen and confident. So, yeah, any which way. I also do like customizable packages, a la carte. I'm just like for connection and for really helping empower women to be themselves.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I feel like you are a really cool bridge because there's a lot of people who do like marketing and branding, but with your experience and how passionate you are about connection and how passionate you are about style and how incredible you are at it and how you really just help women feel seen and stand out. That's just such a really cool bridge or melting pot of like branding, but more tangibly, like also with you and your self-expression
Mm.
and your style and becoming a walking brand for yourself, regardless of what you do, what your mission is, like bringing all those things together because I don't know, I feel like most people have society has a tendency to compartmentalize different parts of life, and we are just one being and we have one life. We don't have work life, personal life, and like just me and then me as my like business brand. We're one. So
Mm.
let's just express ourselves in all the ways and bring it all together. And that's just really cool. So,
Thank you. I really appreciate that reflection. And I love that you called me a melting pot. I just want to also say this has been one of the most powerful realizations that I've had. Like, my business has really started to boom in the past like year, ever since I stopped trying to create separation. I literally became the bridge, like being a yoga teacher, being bringing all parts of me online. And I think that that is just like such a powerful message. Like, that was one of the things I struggled with for so long. So I just want to like really drop that in here. Like, if you are still trying to figure out and find your voice and you're trying to create separation, like just bring all parts of you online. It's one of the most peaceful things you can do for your nervous system. And it is one of the most just like supportive thing that you can do to just really start to own who you are. And that's your magnetism too. So the louder you get to be about yourself, the easier people are going to find you.
mhm, absolutely. And I can attest to that as well. That may be a
Yes.
story for a different episode,
Yeah,
but
I know. It's big segue right there. We're just getting started. Just had to drop that in real quick.
seriously, seriously. But guys, if you want supported with any of these things, go to Fallon. She is incredible. And at the very minimum, go follow her on Instagram. I'm going to have her website and her Instagram in the show notes, and you will feel inspired and empowered in a really fun way. Like you'll feel seen in seeing her because like I don't there's not a lot of consuming that I do on social media these days just to like protect my own creativity. Honestly, you are one of the few people that I light up and I like see myself when I see you.
Wow.
And that is special.
Dude,
That
that is
and
so special.
just like you said earlier, that is the power of expressing yourself as other women will have the permission to see and express themselves as well. And that is what anytime I land on your story or your feed, that's what it is. So thank you for what you put out into the world.
Thank you so much. That was huge. I'm so grateful. That was so beautiful. Thank you. You are just like a gem and I adore you. The feeling is so incredibly mutual.
All the heart flutters. I love it. All right, guys,
So
Fallon's
much.
info is going to be in the show notes below. Thank you for hanging out with us today. And Fallon, thank you so much for being here and just sharing your light with everybody listening or watching.
Thank you. So much love for you. You're adorable.
Thanks, girl. All right, guys, if this episode brought you value, don't forget to share it with someone that you love, that you think it would serve as well. That is all we ask, is that you shine your light and just keep spreading the love. So we will see you back here next time on the Limitless Living podcast.